Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about the power of self-reflective integrity. And it's the idea of becoming your word. So let me ask you a question. And not to get an answer out loud, but just to self-reflect. Can you trust yourself? And I'm not talking about your intentions, not your dreams, not what you hope you'll do one day. I want to ask something different, something deeper. When you say you're going to do something, do you do it? Because today, we're talking about a force so powerful, it can quietly shape or possibly sabotage your entire life. It's not motivation. It's not discipline. And it's not luck or talent. It's integrity. Not the kind we usually talk about. I'm talking about self-reflective integrity. The integrity between you and you. Because the moment you become your word, life will start listening. And you'll have the power to do bigger and better things. Your life changes the moment you make a new, congruent, and committed decision. That's a quote by Tony Robbins. So let's redefine integrity just for this podcast. Because most people think integrity means being honest, having strong moral values, doing the right thing when people are watching. And absolutely, all these things matter. They make sense. They're good. But there's a deeper definition. And this one I heard many years ago. And it shook me to my core. And it put a spotlight in an area of my life where I really wasn't living properly. What they said was, integrity is simply this: doing what you said you would do when you said you would do it. That's it. There's no philosophy here, no mysticism. It's just doing what you said you would do when you said you would do it. It's just your word. And here's what most people never realize. Every single broken promise to yourself weakens your power to create. And every kept promise to yourself strengthens your power to do things, to create, to become bigger, better. And it's not emotional. It's energetic. Although, I'm not a big fan of energy. I don't talk about it too much, but there is something energetic about the fact that when you really become your word and you consistently be your word, that it changes you and it changes your ability to create. Another quote I really love: how you do anything is how you do everything. So bear with me for a moment, but there is an invisible contract that you're always signing in life. Every time you say, I'll start Monday, I'll call tomorrow, I'll wake up early, I'll follow through. You're actually signing an invisible contract, and your nervous system is watching. Your subconscious is taking notes. It's asking, can I trust this person? And if this answer keeps being no, your confidence will erode. Self-belief will collapse. And your ambition will quietly shrink. Not because you're weak, but just because the trust has been broken. And here's the hard truth. If you don't trust your word, the word you give to yourself, why would life? It's interesting. I was having a conversation with somebody who's incredibly, has incredible integrity with his word at work. Like if he says he's going to do something, it's done. And I was talking about this idea of self-reflective. Well, actually, I was just talking about integrity, but he was the one that came up with the name. And I said, I'm stealing that. He said, I've never thought of self-reflective integrity. And I said, yeah, it's the basis of everything. And we do have different ways we act in different situations. Like at work, we're going to be one person, and at home, we're going to be another person. And with our friends, we're going to be another person. But if you really want to have an ability to overall create, self-reflective integrity is something to work on. It's like weightlifting, if you think of it. You start off, you can't lift a lot. You slowly develop, you push your limits a little bit. You keep on going back to the gym, consistency, and you get stronger and stronger. So I think I've talked about it before, and people always are looking for motivation, right? And I said it before that like motivation doesn't come first. First comes action. And probably even before action, you're going to start with your word. Like, I'm going to do this. And then you got to keep your word and do it. And then continuously keeping your word at first is hard, especially when you're coming back to running. But over time, and every time you keep your word, you start to create momentum. So let's talk about momentum, because integrity is not dramatic at first. It's quiet, small, it's unsexy, sometimes it's hard. And it looks like, say, just making your bed, just showing up on time, finishing what you started, keeping tiny promises. That's what it looks like. That's what integrity looks like. It's like, I am going to put on the calendar, like, what? Here's another thing to think of too. Like, if you keep something living in your mind only and you don't have it outside your mind, physical, in a presence, it's harder to be your word because the brain tends to forget. But for instance, right now I'm training for a marathon. Right now I'm in the very, very start of the build. So my run days are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. And my strength days for injury prevention are Wednesday and Saturday. And that will increase over time. But in order to really keep my integrity, I got a coach who gives me a plan. The plan goes into my calendar, and then I just do it. And the funny thing is when you keep showing up, when you keep being your word, something incredible happens to you. And maybe it's not on the surface at first, but it's a little deeper. You start believing in yourself. And that belief will create courage. And the courage creates action. And action over time creates results. And results will reframe and reignite and recreate your identity. There's a quote. Success is progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So start small, because small wins treat your brain. They teach your brain. Small win, small win, small win. And you start to realize, I do what I say I do. And once that belief is installed, you become, or it's the genesis of being dangerous. So there's a progression here. And you don't want to jump into the massive, massive things right away, but you take it like training, right? Anytime you're training, you're not going to be as fast as you want, and you're not going to be able to lift as heavy as you want. You're not going to be able to run as far as you want yet. So you start small. So you start with small promises and you work your way up from there. And this is where it gets really interesting because integrity scales. You start by keeping your word on the small things. And as you continuously keeping your word on the small things, something happens, this incredible momentum. And you realize that, hey, I can say I'm going to do something and I'll make it happen. And so eventually you decide, I'm going to give my word to something a little bit more difficult, something harder, something that isn't so quickly accomplished. Basically, you earn the right to speak your word to bigger things. You say, maybe it's, I will change my health. Maybe I'll build this business. I will heal this relationship. I will become who I know I can be. And suddenly, that's not a brief statement. Those words will carry weight. Not because the universe is magical, because you're congruent, you're aligned, and your word is your bond. Confidence comes not from always being right, but from not fearing being wrong. Integrity builds that confidence. Think about it. Have you heard that saying? The saying about the faith of a mustard seed. And it's a line that's echoed through centuries. If you had the faith of a mustard seed, you could move mountains. But what if for a second we just consider the possibility that faith isn't magical and only for the Swamis and these incredibly powerful spiritual human beings? What if faith is just trust, but a trust that's so deeply ingrained into you that it's the truth? And what if trust is simply built by honoring your word, by always doing exactly what you say you're going to do, exactly when you say you're going to do it? And what if it's built over time, starting with small things, really creating momentum, and then giving your word to bigger things and bigger things and bigger things until one day you're giving your word to things that seem almost impossible, but because your relationship with your word is so powerful that you can make those things happen somehow too. You think about it. When you absolutely know for a fact that you will follow through, fear loses its grip. It's gone. Doubt goes quiet, and your declarations start to feel inevitable. Not hopeful, inevitable. This is the power of integrity from the definition I'm giving you. Okay, so here's a really important conversation around this, because there was a time in my life when I would be working in a direction and everything would be going great. And at some point I would fail, I would fall through, and I'd be so devastated that I just quit outright. I mean, I worked on writing a book for a few years, and it got so tough, I threw it in a corner and I never went back to it for 20 years. So it wouldn't be responsible of me to tell you all this without giving you a way to deal with what happens when you actually break your word. So let's talk about the reality, because I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. No one is perfect. Doesn't exist. We all fall short. So what happens when you don't do what you said you would? Is it over? No, because you're not broken. You're not wrong. You're not bad. You don't need to judge yourself. You are simply out of integrity. You're in a state of out of integrity. So really, all there is to do when you're out of integrity is to restore your integrity. You don't shame yourself. You don't beat yourself up. You don't spiral. You simply say, I recommit. I said I was going to do this by this time, and I have not done this. You can count on me, and you can use a person to be a stand for your integrity, or you can do it yourself. You can count on me to have this done by X, Y, Z. If you're out integrity, you just recommit, you change the timeline, and you get back to work, and you restore and regain your integrity, your power, your ability to create. And that's it. You just restore your power. There's a Japanese proverb that says, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. One more time, as many times as it takes. So there's a bit of myth, a bit of magic, and a bit of truth beneath it. There's stories of Swamis in India. These men have such an incredible integrity with their word that legend says they can declare into existence. Like, think about this. Is this possible? Maybe. Who knows? They say, there is a pineapple in my hand, and somehow there it is. And in the West, we lack a context for this kind of possibility. We will make it's a sleight of hand. This is impossible. This is not real. But there is a deeper truth here. If you had perfect integrity with your word, you could manifest. You could actually take a mountain and move it from here to over there. Yes. But the truth is, everyone would believe it was always over there. You didn't do anything. Only you would know. And this is the thing. Integrity isn't about acts to make you feel powerful and look and be the best and the greatest. That's not what it's about. This is self-reflective integrity. This is something you give your word. This is for yourself. And yeah, maybe the outcome of who you are and what you do on this planet will help others, but it can't be for popularity, for honor from the world outside. It's gotta be for you, because honestly, real power does not announce itself. Like true, honest power does not announce itself. It just simply is. So you got to understand this integrity, this self-reflective integrity is not for others. It's not for the world. This is simply for you, because everything in the world starts with you. Your context, the way you see things, the way you show up, it starts in you. It starts deep in you. This is so important. Integrity isn't about impressing people. It's not about image. It's not about social media. It's about alignment. Because when your inner world and your outer actions match, you will experience peace. like you've never known before. And peace is fuel. Happiness is when you think, happiness is what you think, what you say, and what you do when they're all in harmony. So here's an idea. Practical idea for starting to live your worth. And you could start today. First, audit your promises. Only say yes to what you will honor. No is powerful. Shrink the promises at first, not your integrity. If it's too much, say, I can do this. Make it achievable. You have to set yourself up to win. You have to build the muscles before you go for the PR. Make the promise smaller, not the integrity. Make it achievable. And then just keep the promise. And if you're ever out integrity, as soon as you realize it, restore your integrity immediately. So anytime you miss, don't beat yourself up. Don't judge. Don't get ashamed. Just say, I am out integrity. You can count on me to do this by this. And then you go and do it. No drama, no shame, just recommit. If you can do this long enough, your word will be your law. Because the truth is, your word is your legacy. One day, your life will speak louder than your words ever could. And the question won't be, what did you say you wanted? It will be, did you live it? Because when you become your word, you don't chase destiny. You don't look for purpose. You declare it. This is your inner advocate. And today, I want to challenge you to mean what you say and say what you mean. And only say what you're ready to become. Thank you for hanging out with me again. Keep on working on being your word and building your own inner advocate.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Your Inner Advocate, a podcast by Kimen Petersen, formerly Conversations with Kimen. If you found value in today's episode, please follow, like, and share the podcast with someone who you think may benefit from it. You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and connect on Instagram at your_inner_advocate. Until next time, keep listening to and developing your inner advocate.